Mama Max. I don't even know all of that stuff. I can tell you like what went on with me and Mama Max. Okay. So there's this like case Max is talking about a lot with this guy named Camden Gerard Davis, who's supposedly running this like sex cult or something, right? So, I've been hearing about this for a little while from Max. Supposedly there was going to be some video about it that was going to like expose him. And Max, messaged me and a bunch of other YouTubers trying to get us to talk about it. He said there was like this cult that, was being run by this guy and there were a bunch of victims and it needed to be exposed. And I was like, all right, well, if you want to talk to me about it, I'll talk to you about it, whatever. So I got added to, he maybe like signed an NDA that he told me only applied to before the video was released, and then when it was out I could talk about it. So he basically just added me to a group chat and then like gave me a basic rundown of like there's this cult. But the majority of it, rather than telling me about the information itself, was like trying to like convince me why I need to do a video about it. He was like, it'd be a big opportunity for your channel. You get a lot of views. You could be on the ground floor of the story. You could, you know, be in on something that a lot of creators are going to talk about. You know, when Joe Rogan talks about it, it's going to be a big deal. Stuff like that, right? And I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, maybe, but for me to cover a story personally, first of all, I need to see evidence that all of it is real. And secondly, like I would rather you publish your own video first and publish all the evidence publicly for everyone to see, and then maybe I'll do a video, right? Because like I'm not an investigative journalist generally, you know. Generally it's like me reviewing someone else's leaks that got, you know, online or something, like with Goon Clown or stuff, right? Stuff like that is more serious, right? Generally it's not like me personally contacting victims and stuff. That's just not something I do really. So I was kind of off put by it. I'm probably not going to do the video, basically is what I said, right? So he gave me the rundown on this cult, but I was like, okay, well, could I just see some evidence or something? And I never saw a single screenshot that proved anything, right? I never saw a single screenshot that proved anything of this cult run by Camden Gerard Davis. Literally all I was shown was there's this like 5-hour interview from this girl that's the alleged victim of it, right? That's literally all I saw. And I didn't watch it. I just didn't get to it. So I kind of opted out of covering that story. And then eventually Mama Max dropped this video where the video is basically him trying to get like anyone famous to talk about this like cult, but at the same time there was no evidence that the cult was real and nobody had like anything to talk about. It's basically a video of him saying like, well, I reached out to Moist Critical and Moist Critical didn't respond to me, therefore he doesn't care about like children or something, right? And I told him that was the wrong thing to do at the time, and eventually we had a call. Max and I had a call in private on Discord. It wasn't recorded or anything. I want to say it was, I don't know. It was probably half an hour. And during that call, I basically gave him a little bit of YouTube advice, right? He was asking me about like the direction of his channel and like what to do with it and like how to increase output. And I also gave him some advice just saying basically like that he was going down the wrong path with like calling out creators and trying to like guilt trip them into covering a story or making them feel like they're obligated to cover a story just because he thinks it's important, right? And so I thought that conversation went well and he seemed to understand what I was saying, right? He seemed to understand what I was saying. And then he continued doing these like stupid live streams where I guess he's getting into conflicts with random creators, getting in big arguments and fights with them and then unlisting it. I think there's more streams that were removed, but I've heard there's a bunch of videos about it. Lately I've been hearing everything from Max is like not that bad, he just messed up this one story, to Max is like an evil crazy person basically. And I don't know what to believe yet. I really don't. My understanding is that NicholasDeOrio is going to come out with a video about it. And so is Mudahar. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I did hear Chud Logic had this call with Mudahar. Chud Logic has been covering the Mama Max stuff a lot, I guess. But there's been he's just covered it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right? A ton of videos.
Just mean to her. He was a psycho freak harassing this poor girl. Are you serious? And we're acting like this is just normal 20-year-old relationship behavior. This guy was a total psycho freak to this girl. Yes, I did do that absolutely insane thing, correct? Well, no, this is the problem. There's no date, time, year. There's not even a year. At most, maybe he got a couple of websites taken down.
I don't know who Max is. Okay, so Mama Max, I thought everybody knew. Mama Max is a YouTuber. I've known him for a long time, actually. He doesn't have very many videos on his channel. His most recent thing is that he does like expose videos where he supposedly gets them basically locked up, right? I guess there's a lot of debate over whether he's actually getting them locked up right now, but they're like artistic dissections of online predators. And the stuff I remember him for was a long time ago. He'd make these videos called Life Sucks. Actually, before that, there was Mama Max YouTube Hell, I think was the first thing I remember. Yeah, this kind of thing. He would make these like kinds of videos, which are really weird. They were like YouTube poops, I guess. Like Like, I don't even know how you would describe these. But then after that, oh yeah.
I'm Max.
Oh, this is like a YouTube poop of him. But he made these videos called Life Sucks about like depression. Yeah, like this kind of stuff.
But yeah, it was 0. Despite the fact that I had added people who I thought were my friends and who I thought would like the stuff that I posted. But I guess not. I'll even show you guys some of the things that I used to post at a later date to see if what I was doing back then was actually uninteresting, or they were just purposely not liking and replying to what I posted so they wouldn't get caught in a conversation with someone as ugly as me.
So this is the stuff I remember from way back then. And then he also went on a Hot Wet Soup back in the day, which is funny. Yeah, here we go. Hentai and Self-Fellatio featuring Mama Max 7 years ago. Jesus. I remember watching this episode when it came out. This is the podcast with Zaptai, by the way. But anyway, after that point, he made hentai reviews for a bit, and then eventually he did like the pedo expose stuff. But I guess everybody's saying he's like a total fraud, basically. I don't really know all the details yet, but I imagine it's gonna be coming up very soon.
Harping like the Doom guy fighting pedos in hell.
And there are also these allegations about a bunch of his ex-girlfriends, I guess.
I don't really know what to make of this, okay? Because I'm a very anti-cancel culture guy, okay? I'm an anti-cancel culture guy. But I do think that Mama Max kind of got away with murder, to be honest with you. Basically, what triggered this thought process, is that I was watching Queeman's stream yesterday. Have you followed any of the Rakaita stuff? Is it true that he's descended into lolcow status? Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably fair. He was reviewing some Boldo thing. I don't know, man. He's a bit cringe. Anyway, yeah, so I'll just explain for those who didn't know. I was watching Queeman yesterday, and he was covering the allegations, which I covered ages ago, and I can't remember exactly what I said about them, but I think I had a great take on them. I then watched Mama Max's response, and I think I was critical of some aspects of it, and there were some things he did that I thought were a bit, a bit skeezy. But he kind of like, when I say he got away with it, I mean, I'm not expecting him to be punished by the court of public opinion or something like that. But like, no one really seemed to like talk about it properly. Like, Queeman watched this clip from the Some Ordinary podcast, and Musahar was on there with some VTuber guy and someone else, and they were like totally sweeping for him. It was wild, because the thing is, Max himself admits that he was being a psychotic freak. In his own video that he made about it, he admits that he was being a total psycho freak with this girl. In that he admits that yes, he did put on Facebook a video of him like cutting himself because this woman had moved on. He did admit that the police were contacted in regards to his behavior, and police reports were filed. Like, it's honestly mind-boggling to me that I'm not saying he needs to be destroyed or anything like that, but when he came out with his response, despite the fact in the video he said, yeah guys, I was a total psycho freak and I made this woman's life hell. I know there's a few details of a story that are wrong, but yes, I was a total psychotic freak and I strung myself up by the bed at military because she got with someone else, right? People were just like, yeah, it was a bit mean to her, but that was about it. No, he wasn't just mean to her, he was a psycho freak harassing this poor girl. Are you serious? And this is coming from someone here who, I'm very critical of like the allegations and stuff like that. And there were some parts of the other aspects of the video that I think the allegation video which were quite weak.
Yeah, I mean, this is a whole rabbit hole. Obviously Chud's covering it. I don't want to like just rip his content right now, but yeah, we can see that there's just like there's so much going on here. I'll probably do a video about this at some point, but I'm just kind of waiting, I guess, to see what Nick and Muda have to say. Because like supposedly there's like some call that they had privately, Nick and Muda and Max, and they like nuked him or something. There was some crazy stuff going on in there. I did listen to this today.
And if YouTube does delete his channel, like I'm not gonna have any sympathy about that. Like it's not an issue for me. Like if he loses his channel, like here's the thing: if you lost your channel because you were saying you calling people and YouTube is like we don't appreciate that, I would fight for you because I believe that anybody should be allowed to be called, right? Like,
Deorio interviewed Mudahar. Yeah, I think maybe we should check that out. Mudahar breaks his silence on Max's failure. Okay.
Apparently he doesn't have any assets.
Let me give him a call.
Yo.
Hey, Muda, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, brother. How's it going?
Dude, it's just honestly like it's super frustrating. I think the first thing I want to talk to you about is like you've spoken to him on several occasions, right? Not just the one live stream. I think you mentioned you spoke to him privately.
Yeah, the thing that I was referring to yesterday with him was like me and Nux had a conversation with him about the situation behind the scenes.
And you guys have met and stuff. You guys shared a house at VidCon, right? Like you guys were friends or are friends.
Yeah, I mean we shared a place at VidCon. We're friends. Yeah, I would say for now.
And of all the people who are talking about him, would you say that you're probably one of the people who knows him better than like myself, Chud Logic?
I mean, I know more than you guys, but honestly, at this point, I don't really know how much I know the guy. Just because we don't like outside of the stuff here on YouTube, we don't really do a lot of heart to hearts, right? We, if I have to say, like the people out of that group that have the most heart to hearts is probably like Nexpo, Nick, because he's really close by. But me and Max, like it's there. I try to sometimes, we don't talk for a while, but when it comes
he'll
to
disappear
situations
periodically
like this,
for a few months when he's working on a project. That's not abnormal, right? I'm assuming that's the same interaction that you have with him, where he'll just kind of go off the wall for a couple months and not be.
Yeah, he's gone for he'll go for a while.
I guess was it a little concerning to you when you saw that he was like live and doing a live stream after the stuff that you guys spoke about last time? And was that a little confusing, a little jarring to say the least?
I was not the biggest fan of it. I jumped into that live stream and I was.
That was the thing for me because at one point I had a conversation with Max where I told him because he was planning to make a video about this like weird cult, right? And so I had a conversation with Max at one point where I was like, well, if you want to like prove this cult is real, you should just make a video with all the evidence, right? But for some reason, like that's just not what happened. And I literally have no explanation for why. Like everybody gave him advice, like shut the fuck up about these live streams and getting into drama. Like if you're actually trying to like expose this like dangerous evil cult, then I feel like you should just make a video where it has all the evidence laid out. And like, obviously, you know, police reports are important too. That's to come first. And he told me, I think, that they were working with them. But my advice was like, just like, don't try to like guilt trip other YouTubers like critical into getting involved. And he told me, he was like, well, honestly, like, I'm autistic. He said, he was like, I'm really autistic. And when I made the video about critical, where I tried to get him to respond, I didn't realize it would come across as guilt tripping. I just wanted him to make a video. But I guess I gave him the benefit of the doubt, because like, how else do you interpret? I thought like, how else do you interpret what he did? Like, he made this video where he was like, Moist Critical does not care about child predation because he's not talking about my YouTube video with the cult that I have no evidence for. And I was like, okay, well, I feel like there's no other way you can view that, like, unless you're literally completely... He basically said he was to me, and I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, you should just not get into drama anymore. Did you actually believe that? Not really, but I was like, I don't know. There was nothing I really had to say publicly about it. I was like, well, just see how he acts. Like, if he decides to like smarten up like publicly, like, I can't really complain, right? If he acts again, then I will complain publicly. Basically was my position on it, because like I gave him advice. I was like, just don't do these live streams anymore. Don't get involved in this weird dumb drama. Don't guilt trip, like don't try to guilt trip, like, you know, Charlie being critical, or anyone else being, you know, I guess like, don't well, okay, one of the biggest pieces of advice was like, don't try to get creators involved when you have no evidence of this, you know, case, right? Like, he asked me to like cover this story, and then he couldn't provide me any evidence of like this cult or whatever. And I was just like, well, if there's not abundant evidence that like everyone can see, I can't make a video about it. And his reasoning was like, well, it would jeopardize the police investigation, was what he told me. And I was like, okay, well, then maybe just finish the investigation and then make the video. Because if I make a YouTube video where I have a certain amount of credibility built up for my audience, for trusting that I do, you know, some amount of due diligence with the research, if I make a video with no proof claiming that this cult exists, like, they're not going to have any... First of all, if they do believe me, they have no reason to, and they shouldn't. They're just believing me based on the fact that they trust me, I guess, as a creator. And if they don't believe me, then there's no way I can prove it until this court case is over. And then what if the court case doesn't go well? And then I'm just, right? You can't ask people to stick their neck out for something like that when they have no evidence this even happened, for something they don't understand, right? It's ridiculous. Thank you, Smaggle, for your comment. I'm just talking about my perspective right now. But yeah, so, I mean, basically that's the gist of it, of my experience with it, I guess. After that point, we hung up the call or whatever. I given him some advice on other YouTube stuff as well, just about, like, I don't know, posting consistently and changing up production quality, because he was asking me how to get content out more consistently, and I just told him basically how I do it. And then I started hearing about these drama live streams he's doing where he's fighting with everyone. Tom is a cult, that's true. I actually do, which is why I don't like Mama Max. What's going on? But yeah, so just seemed weird. It just seemed weird that he was still getting in fights with people. And then all of a sudden, the past few days, I'm hearing, like, I guess Nick and Muda had this call with Max where they got some crazy shit of him. I haven't even seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I haven't really asked Nick to see it. But I guess they got some video of him admitting to being a fraud, I guess, or something. But I don't really know.
It's to say that
I think this is before the call. Maybe it's after the call, but I thought this was before the call, this interview.
I was a little livid when he said that I saw the evidence and he kind of used that to corroborate. The quality of his evidence that he just put behind an NDA was pissing me off.
Do you think that he used your name specifically because, well, if Mudahar's seen it, then they'll take me more seriously, or is that putting too much?
I think that was an element of it, yeah. Because I feel like people know me a little bit as a guy that, like, anytime I do work with, like, you know, Coffee or Carl or anybody of these guys, right? Like, I'll always say, like, anytime I collaborate, I think it's always the other party and not me that gets, like, that takes the gloves off first, you know?
Yeah.
Because I always really play something super carefully. Like, I'll never say somebody is a, like, scammer or something unless I have something that I know is 100% in court, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I know that I can get away with saying a lot of things, but I just don't bother doing it because, like, in the chance that I do get threatened with legal work or something, I can always just laugh it off. Like, I never add that stress to the pile.
Yeah, I mean, you literally just had recently this whole thing with Gerard that was probably very stressor, legally speaking. At any moment, that could have gone fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's still good, but, like, at this point, it's one of those things where it's like, as long as I know that I did, like, I crossed my T's and dotted my I's, I should be fine. One of the things that we discussed with Max about this too, and was just like, you got to make sure your evidence is 100% on the money, because who you could be accusing may not be guilty of the crime, right? Because you don't have their side of the story. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if like the guy that he's talking about, Camden Gerard Davis, may still even be alive, you know?
I think recently someone who wasn't related to the investigation found that he got like a parking violation or a speeding ticket in September of last year, confirming that he's alive. But it's shocking to find out that that information didn't come from Max, that somebody else had to like, confirm whether this alleged cult leader who's operated, by the way, one of the things that's the hardest to suspend disbelief on is this is a cult leader, allegedly, right, that uses social media to groom children, who also has no online footprint.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, and that's one of the things, because even last night I was looking up, like, Cameron Gerard Davis, and it was like, this guy's not alive, you know? Like, this guy's not there. And I would consider myself to be pretty good at finding, like, in cracks and crevices of the internet. You know, I've had to do it for cases like Rubets even, right? Like, two of the guys that we found were so off the grid. And we're talking, we have to look through, like, yards of old Reddit information and, like, forums from, like, 2004 in order to find people and verify, like, identities and everything. So I consider myself pretty good at it. Could not find shit on Cameron Gerard Davis or that cult, which I think is incredibly suspicious.
I guess it's also telling that you looked. I mean, that's clearly more effort than I guess he thought you would do. One of the things that I found throughout this whole situation was he leaned heavily on you, and you were calling him recently about how he'd reached out to you prior, right, for a discussion about the subject, and saying, like, well, Mudahar, I wish we'd spoken about this months earlier, so you could advise me on the best to do. Now, I don't think that you disagree with me when I say that he's probably out of his depth here. He admits that he's never done a case of this size, a case of this magnitude, right, where he's working with these people, he's never done anything like this. So when people say that he's like a clout chaser, I don't understand what Anthony Fantano would have done to help him. I don't understand what Joe Rogan would have done to help him. I can see what maybe you could have advised him on privately, but most of the people he's reaching out to also have never been in a situation like that before.
And this is the funniest thing, like, in one of Max's videos, he was like, Joseph Rogan, you have a large platform that must be utilized to protect children. And it's like, why would Joe Rogan podcast? When has he ever been like someone who exposes losers, creeps, and pedos? Like, when has that literally ever been the case? It doesn't make any sense that he would be the one to do that. It's over. And like he was just trying to pressure all these giant creators into talking about this case. Joseph Rogan, you need to use your platform to talk about losers, creeps, and pedos. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of silly. I made fun of this a little bit on the Some Ordinary podcast when I went on with Mudahar, and I think at that point they were planning to have some kind of call with Max to like talk about it, but it wasn't really like something they were like felt the need to come out about, because I think they thought they would kind of be resolved privately and Max would actually smarten up and stop being. But I guess that just straight up didn't happen, unfortunately, which is too bad. Max is like a talented YouTuber. I feel like it sucks that he, I don't know, botched this investigation, I guess. But yeah, we're going to find out more, I guess, from this video.
I guess, do you kind of see where people are coming from with the clout chaser thing, or do you think this is a different...
No, I see exactly where people are coming from with clout chaser stuff. Like, you know, forget Joe Rogan even, like Anthony Fantano. It's like, what the fuck is like the rap review guy?
Well, he was saying like, this is the song that I used in the background.
Fantano.
And even then, it's like, this is what I don't understand about it too. It's like, if this case is too much for you, then you should absolutely hand it off, not to another YouTuber. You know, you should package it up and hand it off to a law enforcement agent. One of the things about cops, and I said this on a stream yesterday with him, I'm like, yo, the law enforcement system can be... I'm not going to pretend that it isn't.
There was a
Minecraft
YouTuber who pretended to be black, so we say the N-word in his streams.
Law enforcement agent, anybody from any department, and just say, all right, here's like black vampire person, and they were responsible for, I guess, allegedly kidnapping and starting the cult. And look, I want to believe that Max has some crazy evidence, right, like under his belt that nobody's seen. But like, what rubs me the wrong way is like, he's asking us to help make PSAs to search for victims. I'm like, I can't go and call somebody a cult leader or a human trafficker unless I see some hard-hitting evidence, you know?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Even with people like Andrew Tate, and I always get into this thing when I talk about it. It's like, I am more comfortable talking about Andrew Tate.
You see, Budo is in the
because
same boat as me. Like, this is literally
that show really fucked up behavior.
This is literally the same situation we were in, where like, if we're resting our fucking reputation on this case, like, we need to have proof that everything you're saying is real, and we never got it from Max for some fucking reason, and I don't know why. Like, to this day, like, is he just lying about it? Is that it? Is he straight up just lying and none of it's real? Because if he believes it's real and he's done these investigations before, then there must be some amount of evidence that it happened, right? Unless he just is like a completely delusional person that is actually like convinced himself. One possibility, and think about it this way, is like, maybe, okay, I don't know these victims. Let's say the victims aren't even victims. Let's say they reach out to Max with the story. He thinks it's juicy. He believes it. The vampire, werewolf, whatever he thinks is really interesting. He thinks it's swagness. He wants to cover it. And then as time passes on and the proper evidence is just not there, he disregards that because he's just too in the story at that point, right? He's too invested. He can't handle the idea that the story actually is not that juicy and there's maybe nothing there. Or it's just a bunch of kids on Discord pretending to be werewolves or something. Now, with this guy, Camden Gerard Davis, he very well could be a piece. We don't really know, but I guess it just seems ridiculous, once again, that like he had no evidence for any of us to go over. I'm curious what Max is thinking about right now throughout all of this. What do you think he's thinking, dude? Probably nothing good. He's probably not a happy trooper, I would imagine. But I don't know. Did you ever say the names of the accused? It's Camden Gerard Davis is the accused. That's the guy. I believe he is like the cult leader, according to Max. I don't know if there's anyone else, really. But like I said, like I asked for evidence and he was just like, well, I can give you a call with the victim. And it was like, well, can you just send me like proof of what happened? Like it should be easy to lay out. To me, witness testimony that hasn't been, you know, that's not under oath in a court of law and like confirmed by a jury is basically useless. Sometimes people even lie in court. The main victim was 16 when she was with Camden, who was 18 at the time. Is that real? Yeah. I mean, if that is real, that's interesting.
I haven't seen from this guy. You know, I haven't seen anything.
Well,
all I
the
know
best
is
we
what I
have is
found.
witness testimony, and like as it is to say, I can't make a main channel video going over witness testimony. I mean, it would go against every single thing I, as a creator, have criticized others for in the past.
The thing with witness testimony is like if you were to take that as evidentiary fact, then Max is screwed because he had so much witness testimony against him. So we
Yes!
operate on like.
Thank you, dude. This guy is acting like, well, I mean, 8 people have accused Camden Gerard Davis of crimes in some way, shape, or form. The more we get, clearly something's happening here. When 5 of his ex-girlfriends or former friends have accused him of abuse.
Yeah,
that's like
and
insane.
I think the NDA stuff is really wild too. It's like obviously, I think NDAs are like designed to. I feel like it's almost like a way to add some level of credence to
He
this.
made
like,
me
there's some
sign an
crazy
NDA
cases.
over
NDAs aren't
Discord,
enforceable
by
in
the
this
way.
situation. Like, I mean, I could leak out everything. What's going to happen? You're going to sue me or something?
No, that's what I was saying before. Yeah, he's going to sue you. Yeah, I'm sure. He doesn't even want to go to the police to handle his pedo case. I don't think he's going to take you to civil court.
And the thing about it is like they don't want to take him to court because apparently he doesn't have any assets. Well, it's like, what are we doing at this point? It's like, why don't we like?
Really hope
now
that
we
dude
have
is
to go
either
to
not
the
real or
police
genuinely a
something,
pedo.
and I guess get them
mean the
to
Camden guy?
file like all these girls to file.
What if
file
he is
something.
like just
I'm pretty
being
sure a lawyer
slandered
can
online
file on
right
your
now?
behalf.
What if it's just like a
I know more about
innocent
Camden's
guy
family
just
than I know
like
about Camden through this investigation.
trying to get away from all this?
I did a 4.5-hour live stream where I watched 3 YouTube videos and got a summary from.
Did Max ask you about Destiny being abused by him? He did, and I was abused.
Absolutely
My boy hole was
I
abused by
urge you to take a look
Destiny.
at like the example I gave before, because I tried to convert your investigation
there,
into
dude.
the
You're
completionist
so
into a
hot.
Mama Max style video and explain how retarded it would be if it was presented in the exact same fashion, where I kind of explained how if you, as a filmmaker, film yourself as an old man watching a commercial and seeing it over and over and over and over again, and at the very end of the video, you realize that guy didn't donate the money, and then you flash a picture of Gerard the completionist on the screen, and then everyone has to understand what you're trying to say in that video, and no one gets it.
Yeah.
And it would be like you making a second video to criticize and call all the people who didn't get the first video an idiot, and a third video, and it's like I don't know anything about Camden Gerard Davis. I don't know anything about Camden Gerard the completionist Davis. I don't.
Shit.
It makes no fucking sense to me. Now, a lot of people in my
This
chat
thing's
are
empty
now
already?
interested in his
Fuck.
other investigations, and I know you,
Okay,
Nexpo, Nuxtaku, all you guys know him on a personal level. But I guess could you speak to his credibility on previous stories?
I've never like worked with a previous investigation on the Mom Act stuff. I can't even say that I'm like the biggest expert on some of his previous investigations. That's something that he never looped me in on. We never really.
It's weird that he
talked about
funnels
an
money to help all the
investigation.
victims
The
on
only thing close
Patreon?
to it was like I remember
What do you
we had
mean by
that
that?
makeup YouTuber. There was a hashtag. I forget
I
Answer
thought
us
the money was
pedo
like to
Yeah.
pay for his
Or it
exams.
was
When
pick
it
a
came
side for children. There were 2 hashtags.
Even when I was
Are you saying it's weird that he makes money off of exposing pedos, like, broadly, or like what?
Max? I kind of get into the idea of explaining like the technicals
Oh,
of
yeah.
things, and it's like, hey, listen, there's stuff on YouTube all the time, but I mean, it's what like the most used website, one of the most used websites in the world. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I'm gonna get through with it, but you know, I don't know if they were like. I feel like these kind of heavy-handed like campaigns oftentimes do way more damage to people's understanding of like big websites like this, and also really insane topics like this too.
I think a lot of the issue, I guess, with some of his previous investigations is there are so many people who come out and speak on his character. Like during the Answer Us YouTube thing, they'll say stuff like, no, Max isn't like that. Max works really hard. I had a conversation with Night Docs. I'm sure you've met him before. I think he was at some of the VidCon stuff. He's another one of those film officers, myself included. I guess look to you, Nux, Nexpo, guys who have worked with him, other YouTubers who've supported him in those previous campaigns, and they say like, well, he's a good guy. He works really hard. But I guess
Makes
nobody
like
can
8K a
give me an example
That's
of when
pretty
he
good.
was
Max
in jail.
does work hard, but
I mean,
given
I feel
some
like
of his,
I feel like
I saw
you
one
can.
clip recently.
I feel like you can make money off of, I don't know, YouTube videos. Even if you're exposing people, you can make money. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I guess there can be a conflict of interest sometimes when you're exposing these people if your concern becomes more money than like making, you know, a video that's accurate or like journalistic integrity. Yeah. Drunk driving stream when? Yeah, that's coming real soon, bro.
Where he was doing the Shinrokyo cult or something, and people were pointing out like how his Discord, when he showed that he infiltrated, he had like admin roles, which meant that he created the Discord. I chalk up a lot of his like clips like that on his video, probably to him like.
What is the
obviously,
deal with his Mama Max's like ex-girlfriends or whatever? Mama Max ex-girlfriend. Mama Max believe all abusers. Mama Max petty ex. Where's critical response to Mama Max drama? Oh, I've seen this, right?
Stop ignoring Mama Max. Yeah, so here, you want me to talk about it a little bit? That rubbed me the wrong way. We talked like a month ago about like what he was working on in his investigation. And then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it. And now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission. And it really rubs me the wrong way. Instead of just he jumping to the most extreme possible explanation for me not seeing it, which is really cringe. That did make me upset. There. Yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way.
So this is the thing. I mean, he was like trying to basically pressure other creators into covering this story. And even I think he like criticized Charlie in sort of a passive aggressive manner, saying that he like needs to cover this story or else he's like a bad person, or like YouTube drama isn't important. What I do is important, you know. Why is he called Mama Max if he's a dude? Shouldn't he be called father? That's probably the most important question we've heard all stream, and that's a good one. So I don't know, man. Let's talk about that.
I had COVID. I barely used Discord in the first place. It was a miracle I ever even saw his message to begin with.
Barely use Discord? That's a lie. That's a lie, dude.
Not doing...
No YouTuber barely uses Discord. That's a lie.
Creates a dramatic recreation of something
Capalicious.
to film it for a camera. Like I know that he hunts down individuals on like IMDU and like all these like social media services. I don't know if he's ever like truly went down the conviction route on any of them. That's something that.
What happened with Mama
One of
Max's
the reasons
ex-girlfriend?
podcasts did get a conviction. Now people are asking.
Can anybody tell me what happened?
There isn't going to be any funny, lighthearted intro for this video. This video is going to be on a more serious topic. I'm sure most of you know who a creator by the name of Mama Max is and the controversy currently surrounding them. But in case some of you don't, I'll provide some backstory of how this whole controversy started. On November 25th, 2023, a creator by the name of Mama Max
So
uploaded
dramatic.
a video titled, "This is the greatest cancellation of all time," adding
The music
voice
is so
critical
dramatic,
in
dude.
said title. It has since been changed to something less aggressive, but regardless, the damage has already been done. The purpose of the video, at least from an outsider's perspective, was extremely confusing and did not clearly show what the intent of publishing it was. The title, both current and past one, did not and does not accurately represent what the purpose of the video is. This is by design, as admitted by Mama Max himself.
This is a call to action disguised as a cancellation.
Now, when covering a topic as serious as human trafficking, this is one of the last mistakes you want to make. Regardless, after watching the entirety of Mama Max's video, at least from what I've gathered, it was an attempt to reach out to Critical via a public platform since, at least in Mama Max's mind, Moist Critical was ghosting and or ignoring him every time he attempted to reach out to Critical privately. In reality, Moist Critical was simply sick at the time, and he was not...
From what I remember, his oldest ex from high school is actually batshit insane, tries to gather all of Mom Max's exes to try to cancel him. She wanted a massive campaign to try and expose Max to a lot of people on Twitter with the help of some guy she was probably currently dating on YouTube. Wasn't his girlfriend he was friend-zoned? Was this the girl who he met in the army or something? Or he tried to kill himself in the army or something because he wanted to date her? Is that what Shed Logic was talking about? Is that even real?
Not using any social media platforms while he was in recovery. This includes Discord, as admitted by Moist Critical himself. He already rarely uses the application anyways.
Yeah,
I don't
so
believe
here,
that.
You want me to talk about it a little bit?
I
That
don't
rubbed
believe
me
that at
the
all.
wrong way. We talked
Everyone uses Discord. You're a
a month
YouTuber.
ago
Especially for
about
gooning.
like, what he was working on in his investigation. And then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it.
Tom, actually, you may use Discord, but just because you use it doesn't mean everyone else uses it. I think it's kind of ridiculous for Tom to claim this, especially considering he spent so much time calling out other YouTubers for making unreasonable statements, when in reality, I mean, this is the most unreasonable statement of all. You don't know me. You don't have any affiliation with me. We're not friends. So how would you know how much time I do or don't spend on Discord? Not every YouTuber has to be a complete Discord degenerate like you, man. Yeah, honestly, Charlie, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to offend you. Look, I just found it ridiculous, and I just want something to talk about on stream because I just don't want to agree with everything you say. Like, I just don't want to be a dick sucker or glazer, All right, man. I mean, I understand that, but realistically, I think you should just say, the truth rather than try to appeal to any kind of other authority on stuff like this. It's kind of wrong to lie. Yeah, man. I guess you're right. All right, buddy. Well, I love you. I love you too. Can we make out? Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of cool if we make out. That's fine. That's fine.
And now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission. And it really rubs me the wrong way. He jumping to the most extreme possible explanation for me not seeing it, which is really cringe. That did make me upset. I barely used Discord in the first place. It was a miracle I ever even saw his message to begin with. And then I spent 12 days.
He landed a one-sided crush. The
not
girl found a boyfriend with
doing
Max with the
anything
army.
online
He tried to
in bed.
unalive himself, posting a
And during
video.
that time, apparently, it
on,
changed his whole
tagging her boyfriend.
framing of the video
Okay.
in order to make it
That's
like a
pretty
Trojan
insane.
horse of cancel critical because he didn't respond to my messages and ghosted me.
However, because Mama Max
Beta behavior.
has unintentionally created this controversy that has since eclipsed
Imagine trying
his
to
original
die or
message that
hurt
he
yourself over a
initially
girl.
wanted to spread. Whether for better or for
You should only be doing that with men, which is actually based. Just kidding. That's meta irony. Trolling.
worse, he has unintentionally destroyed any attempt at bringing light to the situation he wanted to cover, something I am sure Mama Max is not used to, since after all, he is the same person who started the hashtag #PickAsideYouTube. This was after YouTube struck down one of his videos covering a child predator. Now I want to talk about the contents in the video, as there are a lot of issues I personally have with it. First off, the intention of the video right off the bat is already wrong. While yes, human trafficking is indeed bad, and I don't think anyone's going to try and disagree with that, no one is obligated to talk about the issues they don't want to discuss, especially when you've been in the person's DMs for weeks, practically begging for them to talk to you. Now, in the video, he uses the argument that human trafficking is a more important topic to cover than Sniper Wolf and Jack's films, and in the process, tries downplaying what actually happened to Jack's films by calling it, quote, just the latest drama or trend.
We're overlooking millions of stories, in fact. Stories that scream for immediate attention, yet continue to be muffled by the cacophony of the latest drama or trend.
As I am
Okay, but that's not a problem of like creators. That's a problem of like, that's just what people are interested in watching. If exposing Camden Gerard Davis was the most popular thing in the world, then everybody would already be doing it. Wouldn't even be a question. If there was substance to the story, a lot of people would cover it as well. But there's no reason for people to cover that story when they have no evidence for it, dude. They have no evidence, so why would they do that?
Sure, many of you are aware, it was much more than just another YouTube drama. I think we can all agree that physically harassing someone at their house and in the process doxing their house to millions of people live surpasses simple YouTube drama. While saying,
I mean, dude. It is YouTube drama though. Like, and it's not that important, okay? Like, it sucks that she did that. That was of her to do, but like, it's not the end of the world. Like, come on, be for real, bro. Okay. Like, he's fine. Jack's Films is fine. Jack's Films is fine. And by the way, what she did is not illegal. She's not gonna go to jail. It's not gonna happen. Literally never gonna happen. Can you go over the drama between me and your mom? Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the drama with me and your mom was pretty intense. Like, after I blew her back out a few times, you know, and she just kept wanting more. You know, obviously, we can get into kind of a hairy situation there. Why is Tom sending for Sniper Wolf? Because I love her and I want to have sex with her. That is why. So badly. And I would literally destroy my life for her. Okay? That is the reason. It's not obvious.
Human trafficking is indeed more important than something to talk about isn't inherently wrong. The same argument could very much so be made right back at him. For example, Mama Max, why are you covering small human trafficking cults when there's major conflicts in the world that are resulting in thousands of
Why are you
innocent
talking about
civilians
Hamas,
being
dude?
killed, much like what's happening in Gaza and Ukraine? Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not saying he has to do this. I'm simply using his own logic against him. To act as if another content creator has a quote-unquote responsibility to cover certain topics on their channel just because their size is enough, and to try and call out other creators who have done nothing simply because they aren't talking about what you want them to is moronic. Pathetic, even.
It's
Let's all be
moronic.
honest with ourselves. If you really, and I mean really, want to do something about human trafficking, Max, a YouTube video will have little to no effect at the end of the day. Will it spread awareness? Yes. But awareness without action amounts to nothing, and you might as well be screaming into the void. Now, I want to talk about some of the events that have transpired since the upload of that faithful video. If you don't know, Max's entire crusade is against a man named Gerard Davis, or as some people know him, the Black Werewolf cult leader. I know. It sounds ridiculous, but stay with me. Since the video he made trying to call out Critical, Max has been doing live streams to quote-unquote give the victims a voice. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and make the claim that Gerard Davis is either innocent or guilty. Frankly, my opinion on that is irrelevant to this conversation. But what I will say is that from everything we have seen, there does not appear to be any substantial evidence against this alleged werewolf cult leader. As ridiculous as that title may sound, that is what they are calling him. Now, Max has claimed on several occasions that he has more evidence to concretely prove that Gerard Davis is a predator, but that he can't show it because it would somehow invalidate that evidence from being used in court. Now, I'm no lawyer, nor will I pretend to have the knowledge of one, but from my understanding of US law, I'd fail to understand how making evidence public would somehow exclude it from being used in court.
So I think one thing I have heard is that sometimes with investigations, particularly on like sex crimes, the public getting involved in a story can f it up. Like, for example, people will start trying to entrap the person in question. The media attention will cause misinformation to spread. There can be issues with that where I think sometimes the police would prefer the story not be public and there be no press, but I can't say for sure if that's the case in this situation, right? I can't.
In fact, this very same sentiment was echoed by Mudahar, or as some people know him, Some Ordinary Gamers, when he talked to Max on stream.
I would say sit down with your lawyer again, because I've never heard any lawyer that would say that to me. Like, hey, if you present this message, it's going to be invalidated, right? Like, I literally released an entire call that I had with somebody just because they were threatening lawsuits against me.
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
How the situation was publicly presented. That doesn't mean that that call is going to be invalidated, right? Even based on technicalities, you can always take things to court.
Mama Max doesn't know shit.
So I would definitely confer with the lawyer again. There is no reason why you shouldn't be able to present that. Absolutely. And if your lawyer is telling you one thing, definitely talk to another lawyer, get a second opinion for sure.
I don't mean to come across as insensitive towards the alleged victims that Gerard Davis supposedly sexually assaulted through psychological manipulation. However, when we live in a world where false accusations are spread like wildfires, we need to be extremely careful with who we believe. The most recent example that comes to mind is Dream. Dream has had numerous allegations of predatory behavior come out against him, only for every single one of them to be proven false. But not until after the damage had already been done, all because some people just wanted free attention. Now, I'm not saying that what happened to Dream is what is taking place here, but what I am saying is that we cannot blindly follow witness testimonies as if they're objective truths. Max has even had sexual assault and abuse allegations levied against himself, only for them to also be proven false. This only makes things worse for Max, as he has had first-hand experience of what happens to someone when false allegations like that are made. Even if the allegations against Gerard Davis turn out to be 100% true, the fact that Max has prematurely made these claims without the proper evidence to back it up has only hurt the victims and their case in the long run. This next thing I'm going to talk about is probably one of the worst things Max could have done when it comes to trying to help his case.
I mean, the thing that's weird about this is just like, I feel like from the get-go, Max could have just, if this evidence is real, he could have just made one video like he always does. Like, he's never one to do stuff like this. Like, he could have just made one video going over, okay, he has done the attention-seeking thing from YouTubers before, but what I mean is, like, typically with his videos, from what I understand, it's like he'll pick a topic, he'll have a deep dive dissection on them, and he'll just have it all there with the evidence in the video, right? And that's normally what he does. So I'm confused why in this case he didn't do that. If the story is interesting enough, people will talk about it, people will cover it, like Critical will react to it or whatever on his stream. So I'm perplexed why he didn't just do that. Like, get the evidence, put it in a video, make it easy to follow, make it narrative, so it's like a nice story to watch, and then it's just there for people to watch. Like, why this whole, like, sort of, I don't know, workaround weird process to it this time, Honestly, I'm so done with the false allegations trend against public figures. It might not be something you see much in regular life, but as soon as someone has a platform, I'm skeptical. I mean, there are definitely some false allegations in regular life, but yeah, I mean, on the internet, everything's exaggerated and blown out of proportion, so that works. That does happen a lot. I think it is important to remember, probably the majority of allegations are real, Online, like, it's probably like 90% real, 10% fake, but the fake ones are just so remembered because they get dragged on, because when it's real, it's like over and done within a day because it's just so obvious. But when it's false, it takes months to drag on, and it just lasts so much longer, right? So it's like, it's important to remember, probably the majority of people are telling the truth, Don't get too black-pilled on this.
I want to ask you guys a question. Do y'all think that full legal names are considered PII, or personally identifiable information? And furthermore, would you consider leaking one's full legal name to be doxing? Well, according to our Lord and Savior Mama Max, the answer to both of those questions is surprisingly no, they're not. Now, once again, I am no legal expert, but what I can do is use the internet. And as the first result on Google states, yes, full names are indeed PII or personally identifiable information. The fact you even have to ask that question is mind-boggling. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with Gerard Davis? Well, Max, in his infinite wisdom, thought it was a good idea to contact Gerard Davis's mother and brother to ask about Gerard Davis, and not only did he do that, but he doxed their full names and encouraged his audience to constantly harass his family until they got answers. Another commentator by the name of Lyrics even called him out on this on stream, and instead of apologizing, Max doubles down and tries defending it.
After our call, you did something I found was pretty egregious, where you started to like direct your chat to tell them to go reach out to the mom and to the brother to find out information about Camden. Is that that's true, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. So I think that sets a horrible standard because, like, to my knowledge, you don't have any proof that they're even involved, right? Like the mom didn't help out Camden with his potential abuse to these kids, or the brother. Like, you can't prove either of that, correct?
Correct.
Can you at least understand other people's perspective on how, if you set that standard for the internet, where you start involving so many other people that aren't even directly involved and they become collateral for something that they're not even involved with, you could see how that's an obvious, like a horrible standard to set. And now you're just involving innocent people into a crime that they didn't even commit.
But so he went out of his way to publish the mom and brother's name, and then he like called them and did that publicly. I'm so curious what the behind the scenes evidence is, because I have yet to see any evidence. I'm so curious what Max has against this Camden guy, like if it's real at all. I'm so curious about that. I feel like I need to know.
I think it's a standard that should be set if the person they are going after is an actual sexual predator who is active.
In your stream, you acknowledged on how people have doxed you before, correct? And how people, like, how that's affected your life.
Hey.
Yeah. Bro, your stream is like, what happened, dude? You can't donate to it anymore?
I got age restricted, and I guess you can't donate because of that.
I've never seen that in my entire life.
Me neither.
Like,
That's fucking
how did
weird.
you get age restricted live? I don't even think you could. I didn't know that was possible.
Well, you see, somebody sent me a channel called Leper Nation, and it's about how it's like top 3 tips and tricks when you become a sex offender. So I imagine that's why.
God, dude, it's so funny watching you learn all about this right now.
The thing is, I knew some of it behind the scenes because you remember we probably talked about, like, he tried to get me to make a video about this, and I was like, well, I just need to have proof, and I never got it, you know?
No, I know, but like nobody knows about any of this. Like, I'm watching that guy's video, and like it's good for what's currently out there, but the questions you have are really good. They're really good questions. That's all I'll say. Everything you said so far is really interesting.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to see what the fuck it is, because...
Oh, dude, me and Muda are dropping nukes.
Tuesday, right?
We're dropping nukes on Tuesday, Tom.
Okay. Well, I'm excited.
It is bad.
Has Max said anything about any of this stuff to any... Like, have you guys talked to him since... Okay, can you talk about...
He knows about the video.
Can you talk about what happened in the call?
He knows about the video.
What happened in the call?
He's reached out after we've had the call, and he's mad still.
What happened in the call?
All right. So how do I say this without giving too much away? For the most part, the first half of the call was a full retelling of Spencer's allegations. Okay, so we heard everything. Me and Muda were able to ask any questions we wanted. Got to the bottom of it. This is like from her trip, like travels to the location where Camden was staying, how she was out of there, where she went after that, what types of people she saw after that. We discussed like the miscarriages and questions about, I mean, one of the things that I don't even know if it's public yet, I'll just give you a little teaser. Supposedly Spencer lived in Camden's house for 4 consecutive months, and the mother did not ever find out who lived there.
Right.
Because she was like nocturnal.
Okay.
So like when the mother went to work, supposedly like he beat the shit out of her and stuff like that, and like smashed things and did all that stuff. But like she just slept and hid in the house for 4 months. Like a horror movie where they come out of the cupboard.
So Smaggle said in chat that ages were 16 and 18. Is that real?
So that's not the all right. Normally, I'm all ages guy, right? Ages, we got to find out what the ages
You
are.
gotta find.
But this person's not just being accused of age-related crimes. This person
Werewolf-related crimes, right?
Well, so this is public. So Spencer has admitted that she was partly responsible for recruiting a 13 or 14-year-old girl that she believes Max.
So she's literally like
So,
the
like-
Gish Lane, right?
So the age gap doesn't matter because he's accused of even worse things with even younger people. You know what I mean? By this party. So it's not like typically it's just like, oh, it's a consent. This guy's accused of a ton of stuff with a ton of girls. I mean, we were talking about it, and supposedly, because one of the miscarriage things that was interesting to me, I don't know if this is in the 4-hour video, is she was never actually allowed to take a pregnancy test. The way the miscarriages happened was he would force her to drink orange juice and kick her in the stomach a lot.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if the age gap is really the allegation there.
It's the orange juice.
It's the OJ.
It's the OJ. The orange juice
It's the
allegation.
OJ allegation.
I said no pulp. The pulp allegations. Talk about pulp nonfiction. I'm sorry, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
So yeah,
Why
that
orange
was
juice?
the
Does that
first
induce?
half
Does that induce
No,
like
vitamin C apparently makes your kids die. I don't know. I have no idea.
noted? Okay. Well,
But we talked about that, and then we had some questions for Max and his investigation, and well, there's enough career-ending evidence in there that we don't even need to go further. But then we talked about Max's previous investigations. Yeah, no, this is like 9/11 on Tuesday.
okay. Chud is talking about the like girl history with Max. What is with the girl? Do you know anything about the girls?
We watched the video years ago, 2 years ago.
I don't remember this at all.
The big takeaway, right? And I will say this out front because I'm sure he's watching because he heard I'm here. The guy who made that video was accused of being by Mama Max. Okay. Now I spoke to Mama Max, and I know for a matter of fact he has absolutely no evidence to justify making a claim like that. He has the spoken word testimony of his sister's friend and his sister, who claims to have seen Anthony's in a Snapchat message they don't have like 10 years ago. Okay, they have literally nothing to go by. He has every single reason to lie because the guy published a video with 6 of his ex-girlfriends exposing him. I'm not saying it's a full-on lie, but what he did was he posted an unsubstantiated allegation that the guy who created the video was a
Okay.
and like a lot of people just believed that, which is why Mudahar had to like apologize to him and stuff because they insinuated that it could be true on the podcast. And I don't know if you know this guy's life was completely ruined. Like he was an intern at the White House and he lost his internship. This guy like literally had like a really good gig going. And like he posted the emails of things that Max's fans sent to his job. Like Max ruined this guy's life.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds dandy. So that's going to go in the video, I imagine. Oh, no, you said that's not, right? You said that's not going to go
in the video. I didn't talk about the girls, but I had to mention Magnetar because I did bring him and Mudahar together.
Well, I saw Chud Logic calling Max like a psycho, which is... it takes a lot for him to call a man a psycho, to be honest.
Yeah, Chud's usually not the first one on the...
He's literally never the first one, yes.
No,
he's never been the first one.
He's based. He's actually extremely based in Epic.
He is, dude. He's based woman hater.
Now, since the call happened and we started teasing the fact that we're releasing a video and stuff like that, Max has made attempts to reach out. He's now posted on his community tab that he's planning on making a response video to explain everything, which is absolutely a knee-jerk reaction. And I know how long it takes to make a video with evidence. Clearly, he doesn't know how to do that.
The thing is, like, regardless of regardless of how long it takes for his response, his viewers at this point are so fatigued by this. Like, I don't know.
How could they be fatigued? They don't know anything about it.
They're
videos.
They're
and
fatigued.
Nobody knows about what the fuck this is.
They're fatigued from just hearing vaguely about for months and not knowing.
I have used you as an example like 100 times. And then I looked at your channel and you have a 1 million view video this month on a vampire. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Mama Max could have just done what you do and make a normal video presenting all of the evidence about a vampire werewolf cult, and it literally would have exploded.
It's easy.
But instead, he decided not to. He just decided to make a social commentary.
So did you hear
my culture?
Did you hear my question? My question was, why the f didn't he just make the video? I told him to make the video. I had a call with him.
He won't make the video. He just won't. And now he's claiming that he's going to explain everything tomorrow. There's no way. He literally doesn't have a video to release. What is he? Is he going to get on stream and be like, guys, I've made plenty of
Joseph Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Joseph Rogan. I want to hear Joseph Rogan again.
I put it in the video. Remember when he recorded something for me, and I think we played it. I don't know if we played it on Half Baked, but he recorded the Flash copy pasta.
Yes.
It's like, remember when you were hanging out with your first girlfriend, and you came right as she touched your leg.
It was me, Barry. Yes.
I put it in the video. I had to. There's no way I couldn't.
I want him to call out more random people like Nate Diaz. You love to punch out your opponents in the ring.
Dude, you're on a Nate Diaz. Chris Chan getting arrested is one more arrest than Mama Max has on his resume.
True. Based.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Null has more arrests than
Null has more arrests
than Mama Max.
Yeah, he does. He really, really does.
He does. It's crazy. I can't believe Coach Red Pill died. I mean, I can, but I also can't.
Do you think that Mama Max has any arrests? Like, do you think he's ever actually gotten a predator arrested?
I have no idea. Obviously, you're going to say no, right? He must have said that in the call.
But I'm so confused. So, like, you were in one of his videos, right? Like, he had you in a video.
Yeah.
Had you ever, like, watched his content before you agreed to that?
A little bit, but it was pretty hard for me to get through, honestly.
But did you think, like, okay, because, I mean, there's an assumption about this guy. So, like, in the past, did you maybe think that he had a few under his belt? That
I don't know that I ever said it, but I guess I kind of assumed that he must, yeah. I feel like I heard it from 8 other YouTubers, if not him.
Because that's a contested thing now. People don't know. They just don't know, Tom.
Well, I assume we will know soon. Am I wrong?
God. Oh, and you were talking about the doxing before? So,
yeah, of like the brother or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he
the
straight up doxed the mother, and I guess the
on
brother
stream,
as well.
or?
So he put it in the first video, immediately named the mother, and then I guess he admitted that he went on one of his streams and then told the chat to go like reach out to them, just like harass them,
yeah,
to get information on Camden.
But
here's like the drop kick, okay? The mother never knew Spencer was living in the house for the 4 months she was there.
That doesn't make any sense.
She's not living with him currently.
It literally makes no sense, dude.
So, like, there is nothing there. Like, why would you do that?
Good question.
It makes no... Like, it's not personal information. You know, Max threatened to have Lyrics' channel banned?
Really?
Yeah, because when he was in the call, one of the survivors had their username as their real name. And when Lyrics was in there, it showed the real name on the stream. So... in the same stream where Mama Max defended names not being PII, he told Lyrics, if you don't take that down right now, I'm going to have my YouTube contact, like, do something about your channel.
But didn't
because
the survivor put their name in, though? Like, it was them.
Well, but they use it. So Max didn't realize someone would stream the Discord itself just where the name would be visible. He just didn't think about it.
That's
he didn't
ridiculous.
Think it through.
That's his fault, dude.
Yeah, it's absolutely his fault. And he was going to threaten to take down...
Imagine how Team YouTube is going to feel when they see your video.
But it's the same stream where he said that names aren't PII, and it's not doxing.
Imagine how Team YouTube will feel when they see your video about this. They're going to be like, oh, great. We're really glad. Well, no, they're going to be like, I'm really glad we flew our employee out to spend time with this loser.
Susan Wojcicki. Oh, God.
Susan Wazowski.
You know what I did? I put
What's up?
QR codes in the video.
Yeah?
Like his stupid QR codes. I stole his bit. I hid QR codes in the video.
I'm currently killing a homeless person with a car.
But dude, I hid leaked parts of the call in the QR codes for people to find.
That's base.
As the days go by.
Wait, so it's like, does it link to like a 1 second clip?
No, it links to some cases like a 4-minute debate. Like there's really, I put some really good clips that didn't make it into the video, and I hid them.
That's awesome.
For people to find.
Are you sure this video is coming out Tuesday? Am I to believe this?
If it's not on target to come out on Tuesday, I'm pulling an all-nighter. It has to come out on Tuesday.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm excited for that.
I mean, I could literally. I mean, I'll talk to you after you're done streaming. But as it stands, I'm putting visuals. I have about an hour and 10 minutes on my computer that is like a full cohesive video. It's just missing visuals. Have you heard about the new show I just launched?
The new show you just launched? No. Oh, I did see the intro. I watched some of your Mama Maxing on a plane. It was
Dude,
good.
you know what? After I did my 6-hour stream on Max, I got a DM from him, right? I don't think I've said this on stream yet either. He's like, I heard about your stream. It was me literally ripping him for 6 hours. You said you heard it on the plane, so you might have heard this stream. And he goes, would you platform my survivors? And my mind exploded.
Did he actually say that?
He did. I literally run a show called Ultimate Review. I'm not interviewing Spencer on Ultimate Review. That is so dramatically not like that is so inappropriate.
The thing is, the main problem is we don't even know that they're survivors because we have no evidence.
They said it's okay to call it alleged, but based on other parts of stuff you'll see soon, I don't know if they really believe that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Why can't Mutahar just do more, right?
Yeah.